everybody, and welcome to Minute to Skim It. I just want to give a shout out to our sisters show that aired this morning about, well, I guess it's not really this morning, at 1 o'clock, the Comic Industry Insider Show, led by our friends at Prana, and gathering all the data from what is happening in the comic book universe for stores. So if you've ever wanted to know what all the inside information is about being a comic book store owner and what's going on right now in the industry, because I'm sure you've seen there's been lots of advertisement or news articles and those kinds of things about that comic books are doing very, very well and have experienced a huge growth due to new readership, which is 100% true in the case of my store. I can tell you that that's true. But what's so neat about this show that aired today was that for the first time that I can remember, we actually have data from 3 different comic book and gaming store only facing point of sale systems. It puts together hub material and comic shop assistant and forgot what Brian Garside's is called. Managed Comics, I think. That one is for stores out of primarily Canada. That's where he's from, but other people use it. So what it allows us to do for the first time is most everybody's kind of had their own POS systems, and you have things that we can get data out of, is that you can, with permission, ask retailers if you can, as a blind study, like kind of mix up the data so you don't know where it came from, which store specifically, but in aggregate, you can actually see what the increases are year over year, since a lot of those different POS systems, 2 of them at least, have been around a little bit less long than the hub. So it's really exciting for us and exciting for the industry, people that follow the industry, because instead of it being like I say in my store, such and such a trend is happening, but down the street, all of the trends are different. That doesn't help if we're trying to get information to the publishers about what's working and not working. In this case, we can say with surety that regular comic book sales are new comic book sales are experiencing how much growth in comic book stores, or at least the sample they're using those systems. And you can also see what the growth is, because for a long time people thought, oh, the big growth in comic book store numbers they're just those comic book stores that are carrying Pokemon cards, so it's only Pokemon cards that are driving it. But in this case, you can actually see the data that says that's not true, that for the stores that are reporting from specific ends of the universe of comic books, that it is not that true. It is definitely comic books. So it's thanks to y'all. It's thanks to y'all. I see Unknown is here. Bar Lord, thank you so much. I'm so happy to see all you guys, because you guys are smarty patardies and are actually reading comic books every week. And you guys can probably tell me the truth that comic books are really way more exciting right now than they have been in a long time. And it's made me really happy. It makes my job super awesome, in so much as I see this as a job. There are some great books out this week. It's interesting because DC does not have a ton of titles this week, but as Barlord says, all you need is one Batman annual and you can change the world, as it turns out. So, all right, let's talk about what's coming out this week. So you guys get all excited about it and tell your LCSs you definitely want it in your box. Because that's what you do. Watch the show, then you call your LCS and say, I need this. Or be at your LCS first thing on tomorrow morning, which is also fun. All right, Feral. We're at issue number 17. So we've gotten to know our main kitty cats fairly well. If you haven't been enticed to join this series, is a very simple premise that there is a big, we'll call it rabies, virus that's going around, and it affects like all the people in this are gone, essentially. And it is all animals that are left. And in this case, you see that cats are definitely susceptible. And our main character cats are just trying to stay out of the way, trying to find a way to be safe. They've been through a lot. This one finds our tattered group. There also has been hierarchies that have appeared. So they've got kind of like good, just normal, everyday kitty cats, mamas and babies, and guys just trying to get along. And then you've got kind of like the bullies that kind of are trying to take over. And you get all of those guys in the same place here in this one, where somehow they all find themselves inside of what amounts to being a PetSmart that's being overrun by rabid cats. And there's dogs and other things there. So this is a whole issue of like nail biting scariness, where they are trying to figure out a way to get out, get to somewhere safe that's in there. And this is really cool because it's a very much encapsulated issue. And really and truly, if you had never read any of the issues of Feral, you could jump in here and understand what's going on. Could be a number one for as far as you know. It is like 28 Days Later, but with cats. Fast-moving zombies. It is just exactly like fast-moving zombies. And it's pretty easy in this one to tell who's infected. It's not like one of those like, oh, which one of these is a Skrull? They have like red eyes and they're like big old, very, very feral looking animals, all of them. So this one has a kind of a crazy twist because one of the cats involved at the PetSmart has another animal they've trained with like, attack. Go get them. It's crazy cool. And the other cool thing about this one, I think it's on the back. Yeah. So our friend Shannon Live has a quote. If you've never watched her show, Wind Down Your Weekend, I think it's on Fridays. It is literally them sitting around and drinking wine and talking about the books came out for the week. So it's a lot of fun. So you should hunt that down. Return to Sleepy Hollow. Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've seen the movie or read any comic books that might have been related to this character. But as you know, Ichabod Crane is the main character who has been hunting the Headless Horseman. Doesn't necessarily believe in him, but by the end of that part of that tale, he definitely is a believer. This is a totally different tale. He is in this actual book, but it follows a mostly very scary. I was trying to figure out what it almost looks like something alive in the forest, like maybe tree roots. You don't ever see it, what the actual thing is, but you see what it does because it opens up with like a sweet girl who is trying to meet her lover in the forest and have like a picnic and maybe some romance, and bad things befall her. And so it is about specifically this woman who I think she has like a funeral home. It's old timey, so I don't know if they called it that back then. Who her daughter is very interesting. She has some very kind of like supernatural abilities that they don't show you all of them in this book, but you definitely get the idea because of the comments that are made by the other characters. Like, does she need to bring her daughter? Because she kind of freaks everybody out. So it's about that person specifically. There is a connection to Ichabod from the past, which is very interesting. And all of the art is this kind of art. It's very beautiful. It feels like it's from the era. I'll say beautiful, scary. So if you like the original Sleepy Hollow movie or anything, you'll probably like this. I will say that it starts out a little confusing because you don't see Ichabod for the first half of the book. Don't worry, he's coming. He'll be there. All right, I'm going to be upfront. It's been a while since I have read Barbaric, so I'll tell you what I know about Barbaric. This is an awesome series out of Vault Comics. In the original series, it's about a guy named Owen, I believe, who's a barbarian and he has like an axe, like a double-bladed axe, who is alive and talks. Cannot remember if everyone can hear him or not, or if it's just Owen. But anyway, it is a very brutal, the axe smack talking and wanting, and also the axe, I think, needs blood. I think he's actually formerly alive person, and so he's like the undead. So he's an undead axe, I think. That's the way I remember it. So don't be mad at me if all that stuff is not 100% correct. They also had another series that came out, which was followed a sword wielding, believe, queen. I can't remember what the subtitle of that one was. And I don't think any of those people were in this book, honestly. That was why I was like going, I feel like all these characters have probably been introduced in the main book somewhere. And if I had read all of those recently, I would be like, oh, I know who these people are. But it doesn't really matter. Axe gets drunk on blood and talks smack to Owen. Yes. So this one, you don't need to know anything. Honestly, you just get to enjoy the book. So you can totally pick this one up if it's your very first barbaric. Just know it lives in a universe in which witches and barbarians and black knights and talking weaponry exist. So, and this one, a little boy is carrying around this flail. You can see his face on there, which the Black Knight is holding on the cover here. But the flail's name is Flail. That's all he knows about himself. And the girls that you see back there, at least 2 of them are witches, and they're sisters, and there is bad old blood between them. And during this book, outside of that kind of complexity that's happening, and them meeting this little boy that has the flail, they find out that they have to go find the Black Knight and kill him. He is not allowed to have the flail. So the whole thing is all about the whole, like, who is the Black Knight? They don't seem to really know. When they get sent, they meet this old man who they're like, okay, well, we think maybe this guy's it. So we're going to kill that guy. And lots of crazy stuff happens. So this is not for people that don't like blood. It's not for people that don't like witchcraft. It's not for people that don't like Black Knights and bloody stuff or smack talking flails. Although this one, the flail is more, I would say, confused and wanting to, like, he basically asks most of the time, is like, can someone just throw me in the river? I just want to be away from everything and I don't want to be used anymore. And I want to be done. So that one's kind of a new look for whatever this talking thing is. And I thought for a long time it was just like some other version of the axe, but I don't think that that's true. Maybe if there's another issue, it might get me more clarified on that. But anyway, crazy stuff. If you like high fantasy, you'll like this book. All right, I'm going to be upfront. I have never played Cult of the Lamb. I did not read the other series. I thought to myself, no prob. I love Alex Packnadell, and I can read this book, no problem. It's a really big, thick book. It is called The Schism Special, and it starts introducing characters as if I know who they are, including 3 bishops. I don't know. And tells you who they are, and then dives into the action. I will tell you, I made it 3 pages in, and I was like, you know what? I think I don't know enough to know what's going on here. So, fair warning, the art is really cool. I understand that this series is really cool, and I understand the video game that's based on. I get it. I totally get it. On sale right now on the Switch, Unknown says. Awesome. But I will tell you that I tapped out just because I could tell that I was going to get deep into this book and be like, I don't know what's going on. So this is the first book I've read in a long time where I know you have to know the source material to be able to get it, and or not have eaten a bunch of carbs before you read it and not be able to focus. So that's maybe a me problem. Don't eat a giant biscuit at the Blackberry Diner and then try to read Cult of Lamb. Mm-mm. All right, we're into Maleficent. This is interesting. She is a very power-hungry witch. I don't know if you knew that already. Probably you did. And this book takes place where she is, of course, she's kind of bored with all of the power she's gotten and all the witchcraft she knows and all the people she has power over, and kind of like demands that there be something new presented to her. And it looks like she has little minions, or maybe there's just like little guys that she wanders across. They say, you can kind of tell on their faces that they're like, we're going to get her good. They present her with a book, which she opens, which I think makes them very happy. And out of the book come these two like ghosty sisters. And they tell her that they do have the ability to give her tons of power. And they kind of talk coolly in like rhyme or verse. And they tell her what it's going to take. And I will tell you, if I had people telling me that this is what you had to give up or take or do or whatever, and what the consequences were, I would have tapped out of the, you know what, thanks. Can you jump back in the book? And, put you on the shelf with the dark hold or whatever. No. But no, she's not going to do that, of course. She's definitely going to go for it because she's bored. And she's pretty. But anyway, so that is kind of like the setup for this book. Enjoy it if you like Disney anything. I will say, though, how some of these books are probably great for kids. I would not give this to someone very young because they probably will be freaked out by it. Just kind of like the ideas of the spookiness of it all. But it's probably fine for any 11-year-old or up. They probably have seen way more scary stuff than this. Supernatural, another series that I really, really want to see, and I got it in my mental queue of totally going to watch this one. So I can tell you everything I know about Supernatural I learned from this book. So you can kind of see if I'm right. You guys tell me if I'm wrong. This is about two brothers, Sam and Dean. Their dad gave them a book that has a bunch of information in it that they are using. They don't know what happened to their dad, it looks like. And one of them can kind of like hear or see demons and has a bad back history in regard to that. It looks like someone they knew or loved was killed maybe or taken over by a demon. So that's what I know. That's all of my knowledge about these brothers. And I know they drive a cool car filled with weaponry. But this one takes them on an adventure. The first scene of the book basically has a guy being talked to by wife or significant other. They look like they kind of live in kind of a rural situation. And he's got a big old bottle of what looks like Jack Daniels or something like it. Clear my schedule for 15 seasons. Okay. I'm equal to the task. I've never had anyone tell me they didn't like it, so it seems like my kind of jam. And when they go to drink this bottle of whatever it is, it kind of explodes and it burns them up in a big gigantic fireball. And so this is them they hear about it, they show up to try to investigate it. They kind of like get their way into this. I guess this is normal for them. They like fake their way into investigations. They're not official anythings. And they're pretty good at it. So this is a good setup. It's a good spook. It feels like it's probably in the same mood and tone as the show from what I've heard. But cool stuff. Oh my gosh, this is so great, y'all. All right, there's multiple stories in here, so I'm going to open up the book so that I can tell you the different stories that are in it, because my brain probably will get them out of order no matter what I do. So, the first story is written by Paul Dini, and it has art by Mirka Andolfo. And this story is just a cool tale about Superman and Supergirl. Supergirl has got in trouble, like she does, and Superman has to get this very, 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 very extremely rare mineral crystal thing to pay off her debts. And that all is kind of a cool part of the story, and also what happens when he brings it and tries to get her out of trouble. That's also kind of fun. This is a fun tale, giving you another look into like what's it like to have a cousin who's a troublemaker. You still show up because they're family, right? That's what happens. Okay, and then the second story might make you cry, I believe. Okay, so this one is done by Michael Walsh does this one. You might not even know who Michael Walsh is. I don't know if I can actually. Nuke Soups does not get involved with the mafia. Not that I'm aware of. So this one is entirely a tale about him and his relationship with Lois and how everything kind of like in their day works out or doesn't work out, and how lovely and forgiving they are with each other about it. So for as much as like when you think about Peter Parker and Mary Jane, like most of their stuff like ends up kind of being like, you weren't there for me when I needed you, and you're kind of like, I have to put you in the corner because you're in danger. This one was totally different. This is absolutely I know that you would not be gone unless you had to be gone. And it actually has the most heartbreaking part of the book is it actually shows him showing up to a hospital where someone is on their deathbed and doesn't have anyone to be there with him. So he is there for that guy's last breath. And I'm not going to lie, it was really emotional, very emotional to see him have to go through that and know that he was probably not the first time he's done such a thing that wasn't saving a life, but being there for somebody who didn't have anyone to hold their hand. Okay, I'm not going to cry. Okay. And then there's a Dan Abnett story. This one's called Out of the Ordinary. And this one is very interesting. He goes to kind of a small town and he meets this little girl who is maybe not even a little girl, a young woman who is actually somebody who is a reporter. And I mean, they report to the newspaper that only has like 268 readers because that's all the people that are in town and the people all read it. So he goes there to do something and she asks if he would be open to doing an interview. And so the interview is very, very sweet. And he tells her the truth about himself. And the truth is the thing that you and I know. So when you read it, you'll be like, okay, everybody probably knows anything about Superman. But it's kind of cool to give her the scoop. I don't think he's ever revealed this part about himself to anybody that's out in the public. So that's really cool. And then there's there's a Red Letter Day. So the Red Letter Day story is about him and working at the paper and letting Lois shine as the lead, right? In this one, I think she's taken over from Perry, I think. So she gets to stop the presses in this one. His like, you should do it because you're the boss. So all really, really great stories. You don't need to have read anything Red and Blue. You don't need to know anything about anything except for to like Superman, I suppose. If you like Superman, you will like the book. Oh my word. There are 2 main stories in Absolute Batman Annual #1 and 1 little tiny follow-up story at the very end. So the first one has him showing up in a town that has an encampment in it. And these guys, it looks like probably just people from the town who are like not great men, have kind of like formed. I mean, if they had pointy hats, you would not be surprised. You would not be surprised if these guys didn't have pointy hats. But in the pictures, they just have hoods on their faces because reasons. So Bar-Lord, yes. You will absolutely see how he gets the Batmobile that you see is revealed. And I think it's issue 2, right? When we first see Batmobile. 2 or 4. I can't remember when Batmobile first shows up. But you get to find out where he gets it from. There is a whole bunch of information here for you get to see him going out. I feel like it's 2 also. That he gets to go out into out of the city in order to go. He's meeting up with somebody to actually pick up some weaponry, right? You mean that moving city of a vehicle? Yes. It is essentially what my son calls a balaz, which is those big, have you ever seen the big dump trucks that are part of, if you were mining rocks, like open pit mining, those gigantic things? That's what it is. So you get to find out where he gets that stuff. There's the backup story, because the main story with this style art shows just how brutal he is. You meet another character who is a priest in here, who is the very opposite of the way this Batman tends to be, right? So the priest does what's right because it needs to be done. So you actually see him do something twice, like throwing himself in front of harm, but it is for different people. So it's kind of an interesting look at it. But you also get to see Batman be so brutal, so extremely bone crunching brutal. Like there will be a page where you can feel it happen. Just like I say in the very first issue of Batman, you can hear when that happens, when it comes off his chest. You can just like feel it. You're like, what just happened? There is a page in here you will absolutely be, no, dang of it. And then the second story is another kind of like tale of him dealing with bad guys, but it's more like the masked people. He has a confrontation with those guys, and that's crazy cool. And then I didn't get to read the very last one. It looked like it was kind of more cartoony, but let me look at it really fast so I can tell you guys what it really has in it. Because the other stuff's so brutal. Hopefully this one, oh, yeah, this one was really cute. So this one says, let's learn about bats. So it literally is little facts about bats. Like a single colony of bats can eat over 600 million bugs a year. But it's set, the pictures that are there are actually pictures of the Batman universe, the Batman city, like Gotham. People doing things, or Batman in the background, that kind of stuff. So that is what the whole annual is about. And do not miss it. This is not like one of those things that's like, you know what? Probably the annual I don't need. It's probably a breather. They did not pull away from what's going on in the main storyline. It's definitely important to what's going on. You do get to see some more sweet moments, early moments where Bruce's dad is talking to him about being a teacher and what that means. So really, really, really good. Hey, random, welcome. So if you, like, sincerely, if you are one of the 2 people on the planet that are not reading absolute anything, just join in. We're not dumb. It's not us telling you to drink the Kool-Aid. It is actually exceptionally good stuff. Undead Pool. Here's one where I can just be like, I have loved all the Age of Revelation books, all of them. This one, I might be like, it gets you halfway through the book almost before you actually get to see Undead Pool. So the shtick with the Undead Pool here is like, he is one of those individuals that did get attacked by the X virus. If you're a person, it will either A, kill you, or it will mutate you. And usually you get your one mutation that you would have gotten if you were a mutant, right? But it kind of like wakes that up for you. It's like, remember when Deadpool got kind of like put under extreme stress, and then he did actually, his mutant gene expressed himself when you see him in the movie, that kind of stuff. So in here, what happens to him is, since he's already, hey Adam, so since he already is a mutant. There's mutant gene has been expressed. For a lot of the mutants out there, it actually further mutates them. You get to see that in a lot of the Age of Revelation books this week. So for Deadpool, the effect that that it has on him is that it makes him, he's still undead because he's really can't be killed anyway. So, but he is inside of his head. He is all there, but to the outside world, he's just a zombie. So he's still all his actions and impulses are all still to do what did when he was alive, which is like be an assassin. But he doesn't have anything that he can do about it. But what you do get to see in this book is that there is another mutant that's around. It's the mutant that got created as part of the X-Files, who actually, when he comes across him, actually does something different even, because their powers kind of like intersect. I do have a live show after this review show. I do, over on CBS. If you follow me personally, it'll give you a notification because I share it. And then there's another character that's tied to the X universe. It shows up at the very end, the very last page of this book, and it makes it worth all of the other stuff that happens that isn't as interesting for this issue. So I will be upfront with you guys when there's one that's kind of like, So if you like Deadpool, and if you're very interested in seeing all of the different changes that happen for other mutants that have happened before or after, this is probably something that you got to add to your group. Yeah, so these books, so you see the Age of Revelation thing that's over there on the left-hand side. There have been a ton of books that have been released, and I'm actually going to show you the very back of this book because it's something that's been in all of them. So I'm not showing you something that you haven't seen before. So here's the release of all the number ones. And this week is the finish of those releases. So you can go back and find all the number ones of them. Then you can go and enjoy more of these. They're, by my reckoning and reading, all of them have been fantastic. And I was very glad to have read them. This is the first one that I'm like, okay, well, if it didn't have the last page, I would have said you could probably skip it. The last page is something that's important enough, or character that's important enough, that you might enjoy this one. So Imperial, big storyline that finishes here. Jonathan Hickman's big storyline. This is stuff that takes us into space. It is a big kind of like push that Marvel's been doing, where there's going to be they're trying to be like all of our superheroes that are normally spacefaring. We haven't really been focused on them in a long time because everyone's been focused in on Hickman's other stuff, which has been X driven storylines like Powers 10 and House of X and all the storyline that happened afterwards. So this one has been a storyline that started out with somebody attacked and killed one of the Shi'ar emperors, I think Empress, and it got blamed on Wakandans. But there's also Skrulls that are trying to make a play for power, and Kree. So there's a bunch of accusers that are running around, and the Inhumans. So you've got a bunch of different people, and also Gladiator Hulk. So, and there's been a bunch of stuff's been going on. We actually found out who the actual players were behind everything like 2 issues ago, I think. So when does Infertile Hulk start? Oh gosh, I think it's next. Oh, it is a long time away. Sorry, I thought it was soon. Thanks, EXP. And so cover your ears if you don't want to know who has been behind everything. Even though it was revealed 2 issues ago, they just haven't gone back and talked about it in a while. Go la 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 right now. Okay, so it's Black Bolt and the Inhumans that have been playing everybody. They are definitely making a play for all the power amongst all of those different groups. And it's a very interesting how this all plays out, how everyone reacts to it, and what they're willing to accept. So this is very interesting playthrough here. And it was not Agatha all along. It's not a magic universe. It's a spacefaring universe. So, yep. Nope. No Mephisto. If you were waiting for the last page for it to be like, nope, wasn't Inhumans, nope. It's them. But the way it plays out is very, very interesting. I like the way Hickman writes because he definitely doesn't leave you hanging in a universe for the whys, wheres, and how fors. I am next hour. I'm totally selling that stuff. This all came in with a brand new consignor today, and he's probably going to bring me other cool stuff. So make me look good. Done. All right, so here we go. Now, this is a different thing. This one definitely gets you more access to what's happening on the Revelation side of things. So here's my one time during the week that I give you the download about who Revelation is and why it matters. So Revelation is the son of Apocalypse. He showed up 10 years ago and released the X virus, basically a big gene messer-upper. Like I just got through telling you that if you're a person, it might kill you if it doesn't evolve you. And it's kind of like it's like spreading. So think of America, and it started here, and it's kind of like growing where it's affected. So there are still real people out there that are trying to stay out of its way. And there are still mutants that are trying not to get exposed because they don't know what kind of thing it might do to them. And on the side of Revelation, he has formed his own little area that is very mutant friendly. So, and here's the deal. If you accept him as your leader, you might actually get a really cool job. You could be a seraphim, which is kind of like a warrior, guardian kind of thing, which one of the books from last week dealt with that. And that one has a bunch of them. You can kind of see them. They have all the same kind of like red and gold looking outfits. And then, or you can become a Babel, which is you kind of like are forced to work for him. Like you become kind of an automaton. You can't talk and you can't do anything about it. So basically, almost like you have little viney things come out of you. It looks real weird. You don't want to be a Babel. And then you've got kind of like these resistance fighters, which are these guys, the expatriate X-Men. They're totally trying to fight. They might not be telling the Seraphim this or Revelation this, but that is what their aim is. So you get to meet. What's cool about all of these books is that as you're reading them, you get to see the superheroes that were mutants before. Most of them got new powers or different things or added things. And you get to see that here. There's some people look a lot different and have different powers. And like, there's one in this book that just is so cool. And you get to see new ones that have never been around before. And you're like, that one's really useful. I like that guy. That one makes more sense now. So if you like new things, you're happy to have a low dollar week. Oh my Lord. I'm not going to be helpful in that regard because there's a lot of cool stuff. So this one's cool if you like X titles. Now, this one's a must-have. You might not have been following this series. This one gives you a look at a new Silver Surfer at the very beginning of the series. It's a human. And it is not Nornrad. So the book has been kind of about that character kind of like figuring themselves out. And this one, they have like a very big, I want to say exactly what it is. Like something really big and bad is encroaching on them. And you probably have seen a million times that since this says the death of the Silver Surfer, I'll give you a choice. Is it going to be this new human Silver Surfer that they have just introduced? Or is it going to be Norrin Rad that is an established character? So one of them does not make it out of this issue. And one of them gives the other one of them the power cosmic. So if you like first like full appearances of a character. This is the first time I think we've had a human, right, as the surfer, because Norin's not from here. So it's interesting because the end of the book has a cool line. It's like, you're right. I don't know what you're going to do. So definitely pick this one up. It's going to be a hot book, and it's probably got ordered in low numbers. Cloak or Dagger. This sees our two beloved characters, Cloak and Dagger, being affected very much by what happened to them when they were exposed to the X gene problem. I can see this upsetting people if it goes a certain way despite its title. Oh, it doesn't matter what happens. It's going to upset somebody. Absolutely. Very divisive, I'm sure. But cool read. So in this one, the Cloak and Dagger in the real series have to kind of like be near each other. It affects their powers in a cool way. It looks like now they cannot really be near each other for very long. It's a bad thing. Cloak has a really cool thing he can do with his cloak now, which I don't think he could do before, which is awesome. I think there's going to be a happy ending. I know, right? It's just like, it tells you. It's just like when Donny Cates wrote the Guardians of the Galaxy, and it had as a subtitle that Rocket was going to die, and people were like, "Oh, isn't that's cool." He killed Rocket. You're like, "What? He told you, fools." He likes to kill things. Donny Cates likes to kill things. He does. He takes what you love and he goes. So anyway, when he's coming back, y'all. If you guys have been missing him because he's had a lot of effects from his accident, he is coming back, and you'll get to see what crazy stuff he thinks of next, right? So Cloak or Dagger is because they're not working. They cannot, despite the fact they still are together, they can't be near each other for very long. And he's hecka hot, just saying. Okay, X-Vengers. These guys got such weird changes to them. It's real, like this book is really about the getting to see and experience the new characters that are appearing and all the this guy at the very top there, it looks like Giant Man or Ant-Man. He's got a totally different name, and his power is crazy cool. So the beginning of the book, they are all trying to gather peacefully in memoriam of Captain America, who has passed away. So this is Steve. So remember, everything in Age of Revelation usually starts with X years ago. Now, I don't know if X stands for 10. I've always assumed it stood for 10. I've been telling it that way, but who knows? I guess it could stand for any amount of time. But anyway, they're trying to gather peacefully. People come up against them and are very mad at them and tell them to get out. Now, Moonstar, who is down there at the bottom, you see has been given the shield. That was actually given to her by Steve. So, and she's experiencing the same thing that Sam had to experience. Like, you are not my Captain America. You cannot carry that. You're not allowed to. It's the same problem that I think probably every single president experiences. Anyone that like new to office, they're like, you're not my governor. You're not my president, whatever. So it's like a tough, shoes to fill. And you can see there on the front cover, something cool. Hawkeye got an extra couple set of arms, which is dope. I like that very much. And can I remember any of the other powers that changed? Oh, Vision's thing is so weird. He's gotten like a tetrarch virus. You're not my supervisor. Oh, Dad. Nope, I'm not your supervisor. So yeah, this one is just super fun to see all of the different things that they can do and can't do. I'm liking the stuff. and Turtles. I kind of thought truly that this was going to be a throwaway issue that I wasn't going to care about at all, because I haven't been regularly reading this new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles run, and I feel bad about it, but I don't know. Just like for years and years and years, I could never really get into Wonder Woman. It never held me. Like, I'd read the first one, I'd read another one, and I'd be like, okay, well, it's okay. But there's other stuff I really, really, really wanted to read. And for some reason, this new series of Turtles, even though I was so into it when they did the City at War and all that stuff, I just never really, just wasn't my thing. And that's okay. Every book doesn't have to be my thing or your thing, as long as it's someone's cool thing, right? Now, it might have changed my mind now. So this book is essentially the guys getting back together, because it looks like in the main series that they've been separated from each other for a long time. And don't know, they kind of have heard what's been going on in each other's lives, but they want to hear it from each other. So they want to get together and eat pizza and have no distractions, which at the beginning of the book, there's already a distraction. So it takes them a while to do that. So I think there's only 3 turtles that get to tell stories here. And the first 2 are cool stories about what they've been doing while separated. But the third story is from Leo. And it is, he says, I don't think I want to tell you the story, because it's that kind of story. And he does tell the story, and it is pretty deep, y'all. Really deep. It does help you understand him a little bit more even. And it's nice what it does to the brothers at the end, because really the words that they're using at the beginning of the book with each other and toward each other kind of sound like they don't like not into each other anymore. They're just like kind of irritated by each other and don't want to hang out. It's the story of the last Ronin. No. But yeah, it is. This is a good look at the turtles the way they are in this series. So if you are looking for a jump on point, you kind of got lost in it and didn't get started and didn't like it the way that I did, maybe this is something that might entice you to jump in, because I probably will read the next one to see, like, maybe I didn't give it enough chance. Some series, they start out slow, right? They have a long hook. That's the way I see, like, the Absolute Green Lantern. I figured that was a long hook book, because it starts out really slow and it's pretty dark, and then it gets better as it goes. And I think that probably maybe the series is like that for me. And I will tell you that at the end of the book things that I have to review for you guys, there is some releases of Absolute Batman books. I think today is 10 and 11, or tomorrow, sorry, is 10 and 11 being re-released, which I'm just going to tell you, for the amount of demand that I've seen for those issues, if you were thinking about getting them, don't wait too long, because this is the trajectory I'm seeing on Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman and Absolute Superman. Not as distinct for the other ones as these, but like, I see for every release that they do for whatever print it is, we have to order more and more, because it's not like I can say everyone's got it, so now I don't need but a couple for the rack to fill in that part. Like, we can order a dozen or more, and by the time the print part for the other part of the series is out, all of those will be done. So I've started telling people this, like, right now you can pick up Batman 1 through 6 fairly easy. That's what's on the rack that they've had prints for a while. But here's the problem. By the time we get the other stuff that fills in, those will be gone, because people will say, oh, I'll just pick up 1 through 6 whenever 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 and 12 are available. And then that won't be true. Those will all be gone. And that's a cycle I've seen now a couple of times. It's happened 2 or 3 times. I've seen people being that kind of like stuck. So And I kind of felt like it was going to happen when we got our very first graphic novel that had 1 through 6 in it. Then people were like, oh, well, I'll wait to get those other issues. I'll get them whenever the second volume comes out. Well, that's a long time from now. They're doing kind of like a slow roll for releasing for the graphic novels. We don't even have the first graphic novels from the second part of the stuff. Like we don't have Martian and Manhunter. We don't have Green Lantern, and we don't have Flash yet. And those are still coming. So you can imagine how long out it is until we see second volume things. So if you have any hope to read any of those books, grab them up in whatever print they are, because that's what everybody else is doing. And they are really, truly as good as everybody says. And we have more and more people come in every single day. They're like, my friend said, I heard from somebody on YouTube. My best bud's been talking about it. I heard about it at work. People are talking about these series. And then I had the other day someone come in and buy one of every Age of Revelation because they realized that, hey, this storyline is pretty cool. I want to get into that. So it's not just DC that's doing good. It's all of them. I heard it from a friend who needs to market their absolute reprints better. They don't need to market anything. People are coming in on their own. The word on the street is good enough right now. Getting your first prints of the OG Absolute books graded next month. I actually had one of my regular customers bring in all of his first prints, and I just put them out on the floor. It's like, because I needed people to know him. You heard that Jay's been messing around. Oh, I love it. Oh, and there's some cool graphic novels that are coming out this week. I should mention also Batman Brave and the Bold Across the Universe releases this week. I'm sorry, it would be good if I actually showed it on the screen. Lady Mechanica Volume 2. Department of Truth Volume 6. I looked them up, our Lord. So, like the very first ones, number 1 and 2, some of those have bumped up a little bit, but I think that the market hasn't changed a whole bunch for those prints because the people that are desiring to own them don't really care what print it is. So it's different than what we've normally seen, where people are like, I only want first print, like Something Killing the Children. No one would be like happy with eighth print of that one. They were like, I'll just wait for the trade. But nowadays, that has been turned on its head. Also, R.L. Stein's Graveyard Club. This is the one that was made for adults, not for kids. They have put together all of the cool, goofy what ifs from Disney. And very, very popular I Heart Skull Crusher. You can get volume 2 now. They have made finally a giant complete Hero County by my friend Cullen Bunn and Tyler Crook. This might be at your local comic shop. Deadpool Affirmations. It says, feel yourself to heal yourself. Oh, my word. Those would be good presents come the holidays. Star Trek Defiant. No Old Warriors is a nice hardcover book that's coming out. How much is the huge book? The huge book. Oh, it's very heavy. It's $60, just like usual. Usually stuff that comes out from Dark Horse and Image is like 60 or 65 for those big compendium size things. Kind of nice. And then also from Rick Remender, Napalm Lullaby comes out this week. So that is all the stuff that I know about. Definitely stick around because you can hang out and buy books right here on the Experience from Wonderland Comics. Enjoy them, and then later on, I think you got some Henri, unless something's weird. And if you have 2 screens, I guess you can come see me at CBSN if you want to try to get some Black Panther. But I will tell you that I do new books first, so you can go and watch Wonderland, and then about an hour in, 45 minutes in, I'll start with that kind of stuff. So you have some breathing room between the 2 shows, so you can watch us both. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Thanks, Jay, for being awesome and putting up things that made me have to sing. And eventually, I'm going to learn how to use these things. I've got meta glasses now, so I can actually record when I get brand new stuff, like those Black Panthers. I can actually do little shorts, and we can put them up on the Experience. And if I just learn cool new stuff, anything. I'm going to do little shorts with these so that you guys can see cool stuff as it happens. So thanks everybody for showing up. Hey, Corey. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, y'all.